This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Home, where my thoughts escaping. Home, where my music's playing. Home, where my love lies waiting silently for me.
Homeward Bound, little Simon and Garfunkel music here on Boomer Life as we continue our discussion about retirement community living with Jillian Fullerton from ShannopnOaks. And Homeward Bound is an appropriate song to play because when you walk in the front door of ShannopnOaks, the first thing you see is Welcome Home.
Welcome Home, right above the fireplace.
That's right.
Yeah,
So an
lovely.
appropriate piece of music. A good choice through our producer there, Dwayne Bishop, on the other side of the glass. I'm Sterling Fox. Jillian Fullerton from ShannopnOaks, Vancouver, and ShannopnOaks, Oak Bay in Victoria as well. One of the things that you've touched on a little bit on this episode of the program, Jillian, it's so good to have you here to help us boomers learn how to shop retirement community living, because the whole retirement community industry has changed in the last 10 to 20 years.
Oh, yes.
So much so as to be very almost completely different from what it used to be. It's almost completely different.
But it's to the advantage of the senior.
Absolutely.
Too. They have gained because it's competitive, and they're trying to, win that senior over to come and live in their community.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to the advantage of them, and there's more choice. Anytime you have more choice, you're richer.
Well, that's right. And we consumers always appreciate options, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So as we boomers attempt to bring mom and dad around to at least considering retirement living as an option, and, in some cases you're going to get, well, it's about time we had this conversation. And in other cases you're going to get, really? I don't think so. Next. So, we have to do a lot of homework before we broach the subject in some cases.
And that's a good thing to do. The homework is really, if you are thinking of a place for mom or dad or mom and dad, then you really do some homework, do some initial homework yourself.
Right.
So that you understand, you can answer some of their questions, so you're not shut down, right away. So if you can say, well, yeah, Mom, they do provide food at this one, and it's a really good quality food. And yes, the rents are fairly reasonable. And looking at your income, I think you could afford that.
Right, right.
All those kinds of things. And why don't we just go and take a look?
Mm-hmm.
I can phone up Jillian and we'll just go and take a look.
Right. Okay. And of course, that downsizing seminar is a great.
Yes.
It's a kind of a two birds with one stone thing, isn't it? Because
yes.
You get a chance to go to ShannopnOaks and have a look around and grab a little bite of lunch, and at the same time hear a presentation from a really knowledgeable speaker who's helped hundreds of seniors in British Columbia change their lives for the better.
That's
so
true.
You could learn about downsizing, and you could learn about ShannopnOaks and score a free lunch in the process.
Exactly.
Heck of a
and
deal.
Get a tour.
A heck of a
and
deal.
Get a tour.
So what else? Now, this is so helpful, again, for us boomers, because one thing that you've told us, in many instances, the first inquiry about the possibility of living in a retirement community doesn't come from the person who's going to do the moving. It comes from his or her boomer children.
That's right.
And so a lot of our inquiries are math-based. We want to know how much this thing costs. And you talked about your rent, and you've used the word lease a couple of times. So how does that work?
It's a month-to-month rental.
Okay.
In ShannopnOaks. And so you come in and at, say, day one of May 1st, say, for example.
Okay.
And if you didn't like it by May 30th, you can just turn in your notice and move out by June 30th.
Okay.
So, I mean, we don't hold you to that because we want you to be happy. But I'm saying give us a chance.
Now, is that different, or is it fairly common practice industry-wide where a new person would sign up for a month-to-month, or do other communities require longer-term commitments up front?
For the most part, Sterling, it's month-to-month.
Okay. All right.
You can, now, in some places have condominiums, and you buy the condominium.
Sure.
And and then you pay a monthly condominium fee plus a small package for maybe meals, housekeeping, things like that. So you can do that. But there's only a few places like that. And most seniors are happy with just paying the monthly rent because we don't know if we're going to live for 10, 20, or 2 years.
Sure.
So it's good to know that.
It's kind of a no-pressure arrangement, right?
And we put ourselves in the senior's shoes and think, how would we feel? What would we want to do? And coming up with a month-to-month is the best way to do it.
And are fee increases, rent increases, and all that sort of thing made very obvious right up front that for the first year it's this?
We do at ShannopnOaks.
Right.
We do at ShannopnOaks. I can't speak for other places because all of a sudden, you get a letter and it's increased by a percentage. Last year, we did not have an increase at all.
Okay.
This year, we had an increase of 1.75%, and that's less than the CPI, the Consumer Price Index.
That's right, yeah.
So, I mean, our hydro went up 9%, I believe, but we only put the fees up by 1.75, and the previous year, no increase.
Interesting. Now, in terms of other math questions, I think one that would be uppermost in my mind would be, does this rate, this monthly rental rate that you've just talked about, does that include food?
Yes, it includes all your meals at ShannopnOaks. Some places it does not, so make that inquiry. Does it include, some places have 20 meals a month. Some places will give you an allowance for meals, and maybe the one place I'm thinking of has a $300 allowance. But you get that. But however, the prices in the restaurant increase.
Right.
So your $300 is reduced over the period of time you're there.
Well, these are good questions. I'm so glad that you're here on the program again with us today, because as we attempt to do the right thing, shopping on behalf of mom and dad, trying to make those inquiries and learn the right facts about what to look for in a retirement community. One of the things that perhaps we didn't know to look for or ask about are these hidden costs.
Oh, yes.
Because one would assume that, well, here's the cost per month. Okay, great. Here's your check. See ya. And that covers everything. Well, that is not always the case.
No.
So by way of doing good boomer homework, nudge, nudge, you got to ask when you go to these retirement communities what the numbers are and what those costs include.
Yes.
Because you don't want to be 4 weeks or 3.5 weeks into the month and you're out of food money.
No.
I mean, it's just, what the
heck
is that?
At ShannopnOaks, you get all your meals.
Right.
You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You get snacks, and muffins, and coffee and tea in the morning, and cookies and goodies and tea and coffee in the afternoon. It's all included.
Right.
And special events, it's all included. We have wonderful special events, dinner at Easter's and Christmas, and they're wonderful. And we'll talk about the events. We're having a Mother's Day tea coming up. That'll be just wonderful with this vintage fashion show, all sorts of things. But no, so all of that stuff is included. I think you have to be aware of that and ask about those costs when you're you're looking at retirement communities.
Well, and this listen up here, boomers, because this is important stuff. And I don't know about you, but when I came to learn about retirement communities, I'm lucky because I have people like Jillian Fullerton here to teach me the right way to approach it. But there are just so many questions to ask, Jillian, and all I'm trying to do is get you to help us ask the right ones.
People can phone me and ask me questions.
Okay.
Just phone 604-324-6257 and ask for Jillian, and I'll answer your questions. I mean, that's what I'm there for, and I will steer you in the right direction. If ShannopnOaks is not for you, and sometimes it's not,
right?
I'll make other suggestions for you.
Okay.
I don't. Generally, people have to come and see it. And understand what it's like, but I certainly will be there to help.
Okay.
I mean, some people have phoned, and I can tell right away that ShannopnOaks is not appropriate for them. They need more care.
Right.
They need something else. So I will suggest they look here, here, and here, and just give them some pointers in the direction.
And I would guess in some cases, again, going even to the boomers, let alone the seniors who just call you cold out of the blue, not everyone can meet the criteria to independently live at ShannopnOaks, right?
If they've waited too long, it's...
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there's a fairly extensive medical requirement in terms of knowing who's moving in on the part of the people at ShannopnOaks.
I wouldn't say it's extensive. It's fairly, you just have to be independent.
Right. But they need to know about you so that if you need some help, you can get it, right?
Yes, exactly. We need to have we have a doctor's medical that they fill out, and they go and get the doctor's fill out, and they list the prescriptions they're on, any conditions they may have. I will say dementia, the big D word, now is the roadblock.
Okay.
If they have dementia, that doesn't work, because dementia and independent living do not work.
Right.
You've got to be able to converse with your people at lunch and dinner. You've got to be able to manage on your own. You can't be wandering out, all of that. However, sometimes if it's a couple and one of the members of the couple has early stage dementia, we will accept them because the other spouse is there to oversee and to assist.
Right, I see.
So that has happened in the past.
Right.
But it's the individual that comes in with dementia. I'm sorry, we just cannot accept them.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And all of this, of course, is determined on the basis of medical information that is required for every prospective resident at Shannon Oaks.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true, yeah.
ShannonOaks.com is the website. If you missed Jillian's phone number, and she gave it pretty quickly again there, go to ShannonOaks.com, and you'll discover it's 604-324-6257. But it's all there in black and white for you on the internet at ShannonOaks.com. Don't forget to click on Vancouver for the Waverly Avenue location in the city. Or if you're listening on Vancouver Island and might want to just pop down and have a look at Shannon Oaks, Oak Bay, just click on Victoria when you get to ShannonOaks.com, and everything will pop up right there for you on the screen. We'll take a quick time out, and when we come back, boy, Jillian mentioned this just a couple of minutes ago. Have they got a busy summer planned? We'll tell you all about it in a couple of minutes.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.